Hi, Dr. Paul Haider here. You know, I've had a lot of people come to me this week with the inability to be able to get to sleep and stay asleep. I mean, it's just like beginning him on Facebook and people getting me emails and text and WhatsApp and all these different things. It was like, wow, this is an epidemic here. Oh, I found it very interesting. So, what's going on? In fact, there was one man who was very interesting. He had taken valerian and even Valium and was taking a couple other herbs also, and he still was not able to sleep. And I said, you know what? This has to do with your thinking, your mind. This has nothing to do with, an inability for just fall asleep, because of some medicinal lack of any kind. Your mind is racing, is thinking all the time. And it's like, wow, very interesting. So he actually took a few herbs and he woke up in the morning because that was the worst night of all. And I said, I know, it doesn't matter how many things you take, it's not going to change anything. And not at all. For the typical person who's just not sleeping well, a little bit of chamomile tea, a little fennel tea, a little anise tea, a little valerian tea, or anything relaxing will actually help in a great way. But that's not the answer if you have a lot of stuff going on in your brain. You could take everything in the world and still be up all night to playing tiddlywinks. I find it very interesting. Uh, there has to be a rhyme and a ritual to a rhyme and reason and a ritual to our whole life, and a lot of people have gotten out of that completely. First of all, there needs to be a process of stopping your last meal by 6 o'clock. Nothing after 6 o'clock until 8, 9, even 10 o'clock. And it takes 8 hours to digest your last meal. So if you stop at 6, it would be about 2 o'clock in the morning. If you eat at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, your last meal, by midnight, you're going to be digested everything, and then you'll be able to sleep deeply, which is a nice thing about being able to eat early and allow yourself to be able to have that deep rest. That's a really important thing. A lot of people eat up. I recommend you go to bed by 10 o'clock and get up by 6, which is the normal Ayurvedic process of getting up, and that's works with our circadian rhythms. Oh, a lot of people are disregarding that whatsoever, and they wonder why they're not sleeping well. If you go to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning, or if you go to bed at 3, or maybe you don't go to bed, that's going to be a problem. It's going to be a big problem. And so we need to put some rhyme and reason and ritual into our life and start a process of we have a bedtime, and that's really important. And also, we have to be the one that controls our mind. It was actually interesting the other day, this last week also. I had a person I'm working with who lives on the East Coast of the United States, and he texted me and he said, wow, my mind was angry last night. I was doing my meditation and I was just, noticing it was angry. And I go, well, who was noticing it was being angry? And he just texted me back lots of love. Because, something is there watching the mind being angry. And what is that outside of us is watching us? And I said, that is your pure self, your spiritual self, that which is your higher, awareness, that which is your soul watching what's going on. And sometimes the mind just runs amok. There's no doubt about that. And we have to learn to control this thing. And I had another person this last week. In fact, I recommended that he start learning meditation, be able to control this mind, but he was really not interested. It was like, nah. So we allow our minds to go crazy, and I see that with a lot of people. How can we sleep if our mind is running around like a chicken with its head cut off? It is not possible. There is absolutely no way. And meditation is a great way to teach our mind discipline. So we can, keep it from jumping from one limb to another like a monkey. And it'll do that. There's no doubt about that. This is talked about in all the spiritual texts. I think that it's really important. I think even Saint Ignacio even talked about that, and he wrote a few hundred books, and he talked about meditation. I think that was really interesting. And I'm also reading his books about the spiritual exercises too, and he talks about meditation in that. And meditation is quieting the mind. Thomas Keaton, the great, Christian monk, talks about meditation. Thomas Merton, also another Christian monk, talks about meditation. We have to learn to control this thing. We are not this brain. We are not this mind. There is something else watching the mind, that pure awareness which is there. And even scientists have shown that we are more than this thinking that's going on. We are this spirit. We are this continuing, ongoing thing that it cannot be destroyed, which is an energy which goes on forever. And boy, that's talked about in all the spiritual texts. There's no doubt about that. So how do we allow ourselves to control this thing here so we can get to sleep? And it becomes our worst enemy at times because we don't know how to control it. And one of the ways is to, first of all, we got to get it to slow down. So eating, as I told you before, it can help that. Second of all, to do meditation, which is a great way to help control the mind. And doing the meditation first thing in the morning helps to calm down the mind so that we can have great peace inside, but also more creativity and allow ourselves to find and do what we want to do every day and have that laser focus that we want to have. And the end of the day, sometimes around 4 or 5 o'clock, to do another meditation process. That also helps us to calm down the mind so that we can get in the mode of going to a place of being able to sleep. And I think that's really important because a lot of times we find that our mind's racing so much that we can't sleep at all because it's just, we're going crazy. So allowing ourselves to concentrate on a word in a meditation, maybe be Om, or whether it be on our breath, allows us to bring everything down to the singular. And when the singular is the focus, then it allows ourselves to let go of all these other things, and we find that we have peace and calm. And if you don't have peace and calm, how can you sleep? It's impossible. Even if you took a ton of chamomile, even if you took a ton of valerian, even if you took a ton of mulangu and a whole bunch of different other herbs and supplements, they just won't work. So we have to learn to control that mind. I think it's really interesting also that it's very important that we allow ourselves to understand we're more than just this brain. And like the man said, who's watching the mind? And after a while, we start to see that we're more than that. There are other new ways of controlling our abilities to sleep. Are a lot of great recordings that you can get. HemiSync has a lot of great recordings. InnerTalk.com has a lot of great recordings about being able to sleep deeply. A whole bunch of different groups. InnerTalk, Eldon Taylor is a good friend of mine, so I love his stuff. You can download it on your phone and listen to it. and it does a great job of subliminal that helps you to sleep. There's also new mechanisms that you wear. They're just a little bitty thing that has a band here and it go around your ears. If you want to text me, email me or something about that, I'll let you know. I don't like to talk too much about brands and things of gadgets. But they help you to focus, and it's kind of like a meditation device, but it's not really meditation. It's allowing you, it's kind of like an EEG device, and allows you to understand your pattern of thought, and you can move yourself from beta, which is we're in right now, really fast brainwave, to alpha, which is more relaxing state, to theta, which is dream state, and finally into deep, deep sleep, which is where we have restorative sleep. And we restore our body. And then somewhere in that 20 to 40 minute range, we have rapid eye movement underneath our lids, and we restore ourselves. And that's super important. If we don't get that deep sleep, it's impossible for us to be healthy. And a lot of people nowadays are not getting deep sleep because they're always in beta. They can even get into alpha, which is relaxation state. Not possible. So how could they ever get into deep delta? And they have to get to theta in order to get to delta. So it's not going to happen because we're so wound up that we are not able to allow ourselves to get that deep restorative rest that we need. And so meditation is absolutely vital. And another man that emailed me this week, he said, I'm not stressed, and I don't have an anxiety. I have anxiety because I'm not sleeping. Well, oh, I just, okay. Well, almost everybody these days has some kind of great stress and anxiety going on. It just seems to be mounting in the world and becoming more common. That everybody seems to be so in a state of frenzy that it's not possible to sleep. One other way to actually allow yourself to sleep deeply is deep breathing. I find I call this the 24 breath session, and you can do this as many times as you need to, and just taking in a deep breath as deep as your lungs will allow you to the point where you're going to burst, and then let it out slowly while you're laying in bed there. Breathe in and breathe out, and then breathe in and breathe out. And do that 24 times. Most of the time, by the time you reach, even before you reach 24 of these deep breaths, you're going to fall asleep. And if you wake up again, do it again. Another thing to add in there is to do a body scan. Start with the top of your head, and you close your eyes and tell yourself to relax. I'm going to relax the top of my head. I'm going to relax the back of my neck. I'm going to relax my eyes and eyelids. I'm going to relax my face. I'm going to relax my throat. I'm going to relax my tongue, allowing my shoulders to droop and my arms and on down, allowing my heart and lungs and internal organs to relax. And then go in all my hips and my legs, lower legs, ankles and feet, my arms, and on out through my fingertips. And do that, and then go back to the deep breathing again and do another 24 breaths of that deep breathing. And I guarantee you, this is without taking anything, you're going to be able to get into a deep state of sleep. There's no doubt about that. Also, sometimes we just need to go do a little bit of counseling. Maybe we have a whole bunch of worries going on, and we've never talked to anybody about them, and we need to just let it out. I believe once in a while, at least once a year, to check in. See if we're on the right page, you know what I mean? Sometimes our thinking can get off, off kilter. We really need somebody to bring us back to reality and say, that's not where it should be. Let's get on the straight and narrow path here. And that's a good thing. Most insurance companies will give you about 10 visits, and even county hospitals will have free counseling if you can go talk to a counselor, and that will help you also. And some people also use a method called square breathing. You can look that up. It's about the same thing as my breathing process, and a lot of people have used that also. And also another one is to read something spiritual at night. You know what I mean? Open your book. Get rid of the electronic device. That'll only keep you awake. Get out a paper book and read. Read something spiritual. I can guarantee you, after a little while, you'll put down the book, take off your glasses, and you'll fall asleep. And it was really interesting back in the 13, 14, 1500s, 1600s. It wasn't, we didn't have electricity, and so people went to bed early, very early, because when the sun went down, there was, you read or something by candlelight or by a lamp, and then you went to bed early, and then people would get up about midnight or so, do a little reading, and then go back to bed for about 15, 20 minutes, then go back to bed. That was the normal way back then. So maybe that would be good for you also. But I go to bed at 8 p.m. And I get up at 5. I get a lot, and then I also have a little time to 15, 20 minutes of reading time in that also to help me to fall asleep. And you can do this. Absolutely. Everybody can do this. And also another great way to get a deep night's rest is just silently saying to yourself the name of God. Whether it be, Jesus, 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 Krishna, 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 Allah, 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 just saying that over and over and over again, and knowing in your mind that you are safe and you're being watched over. That's really important. So allow yourself to know that, getting a good night's rest is all about this thing. And not so much about, taking a bunch of herbs. That can help if you have mild, challenges with sleeping. Now, also melatonin for some people can help. For me, it gives me wild dreams. So allow yourselves to try these different types of rituals, which will help you to get a good night's rest. And remember, I'm always here for you. If you want to get a hold of me, my email address is down below. It's drpaulhaider@gmail.com, drpaulhaider@gmail.com. My phone number is 831-869-9119, 831-869-9119, 831-869-9119. You can call me or text me or WhatsApp me on that number. Also, my consultations are free and would love to help you in any way, shape, or form. And if you want to get a hold of me, I'm here to help you and make a difference in your life if I can. Also, if you care to subscribe, that's really greatly appreciated. And also, if you care to make a donation, that is really, really greatly appreciated. And also, please watch the advertisements. I don't get paid anything, and boy, I'm not getting paid anything at all, because it's just a little tiny few cents that you get, maybe 1 cent that you get if you watch the advertising. And so please do, I appreciate that. But most of all, above everything else, remember, I love you.